This meeting is being recorded.
Good evening and welcome to this week's Loose Links. We've got lots to talk about this week and we have a guest panellist as well. So make sure you stay for an hour of fun with lots of debate and lots of chat, all on this week's Loose. Joining us for another episode of Tuesday's Fun. Joining me on the panel, the woman with a smile on her face all the time. That's Rachel Penny. And the man that we haven't seen since last year, that's Jason Lambert. As we talk about this week, we share the world and almost do a show based on TikTok. So TikTok has shared on their social media this week, there's a video that they are restricting 18-year-olds to have an hour a day on the app. But is this good? Do we agree with it? Find out what the panel think. We also talk about a man who has been let out of jail but offended again. So we talk about jail life and prison really. Is it really a punishment nowadays or is it really not? And we finish on the subject of a guest panellist that's joining us at the TikTok legend themselves on Inspiration Week. Find out who that person is, all that and a lot more on this week's Loose Links. Good evening, Banner!
Hi.
Good evening.
Hi, how are we? Are you all right?
So
Good.
far, so good.
Strange that there's only three of us. But we do have a TikTok legend with us this evening, ladies and gentlemen. Will you please welcome to the Loose Links screen, Lucy Chester. Hi, Lucy. Joining us. Hello. We've got lots to talk to you about, but she's our guest panellist this evening, so she's joining in with every single conversation we've got. So let's see how are you excited?
Very. I'm very honoured to be here. Thank you so much.
I must say that I actually do not know who Lucy Chester is.
Well, you'll
You're
find
not
out a bit more at the end of the
crowd,
show.
are you, Jason?
Sorry?
You're not in with the in crowd.
Well,
obviously.
that's because I have a life.
But we will find out a little bit more about Lucy and why she is so big on TikTok and how TikTok has helped Lucy as well. So we'll interview her right at the end of the show. But we start on last week's polls, as always, because you are the fifth panel member out there and it's just important that you get your say as well as ours. So the polls were last week. First poll was, do you think we are doing enough at home for climate change? I'm not even going to look at you, Rachel. 80% says no and 20% says yes. And the second poll is, do you feel we lose friendships when we step into a romantic relationship? There was a comment from Zoe Anderson. It depends how you treat your friendships to stepping into a relationship, I suppose. Matt Kemp agreed with Zoe. Anthea Lavender says it doesn't happen. It does happen. I've witnessed it. The saying goes, well, I was okay when I was single and I was dumped every time my friend got themselves a boyfriend. Then once they ended up coming running back, and it shouldn't be like that at all. You should never feel you should give up your friendships just because of a relationship. And the polls were 70% of you said no and 30% of you said yes. So thank you for getting into those polls for me. So we have a guest panelist this evening. So of course, we're going to talk about the world of TikTok a little bit this evening as we start on the first subject. So the first subject, ladies and gents, is TikTok are putting a new rule out there for under 18-year-olds that they can only go on TikTok for 1 hour a day. It's a massive, massive restriction. If you go over the age of 18, you can be on TikTok as much as you bloody like. But if you go under the age of 18, they are trying to restrict to having 1 hour a day on the app because they are saying they are losing themselves in this social media app and it's not healthy. But question one, do you think, ladies and gents, that we do spend too much time on our social media? And do you think we are real on our social medias?
Oh my God, yes. You're quite real. You can be real on certain lives with people because you soon get found out, I think, if you're not real. You can't stay the same all the time. But I do think it's a good idea the age to be dropped for TikTok, definitely, because there's nearly 3 billion active users for Facebook and 1.5 billion for TikTok. That's a lot of people and a lot of dodgy ones as well. Not saying any names.
But
there are. It's dark. There can be some dark sides to it, and you can access it every minute of the day and night. For children,
some very dark people on there, and I think it's really good that they have done that. Although, how on earth are they going to police that? Will it cause more crime? Will people be wanting to get more phones, making new fake accounts, doing stuff like that? I mean, that's all well and good, but how on earth are they going to police that?
Yeah, quite.
What about you, Jason? Because you are on social media, but you're not an active person on social media, are you? What do you think about restricting under 18s to go on any social media platform, not just TikTok?
Yeah, they've tried this before, haven't they? They've tried it with Facebook. They've tried it with all different sites, and they've tried to make active like 18-year-olds and active things like this. It doesn't really work. Yeah, I'm not an active person on social media, really. I do bits and pieces on Facebook, but that's about really all I do. I don't do Twitter and I don't do TikTok. I watch some reels and things from TikTok, but I don't do an awful lot of it. And I do think that we spend a lot of more time than we need to on our social media, some more than others. I've got no problem with people who are on there all the time doing videos, doing things like that. If that's what they're up to and that's what they like doing. But I just think that, as Rachel says, you can access it 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, every day of the year. And some people do lose themselves in that world.
And I think what I'm trying to say about, I slightly disagree with you, Rachel, because I think what I'm trying to say about being real on social media, yes, there's now TikTok lives, which I'll come down to you in a minute, Lucy, because you're a TikTok live person. But when we look at, let's turn away a little bit from TikTok here, and let's go on Facebook. Let's talk about Facebook a little bit. Do you think you are that real person on Facebook? Because you can have a glorious photo with your family. So you've gone out for the day, absolutely stunning photo where you're all smiling, all glasses of wine in your hand, picnic, parks, all of this. But 5 minutes before that, organising that photo, mum and dad's arguing in the corner, the kids are pulling each other's hairs out, there's a baby crying. Actually, is it the real us, or is it the best of our lives?
It is the best of our lives. It must be, because who wants to go on? The reason you go on social media is to lose yourself a little bit, or find information about something, or look at lovely photos, nice scenes. If someone's arguing, I mean, drama does cause a lot of views, but I don't go on for that. I would go on to Facebook to look at nice pictures. Why would I put on, oh, that's me and Matt rowing, we're just trying to get the kids ready for a photo? Who actually wants to watch that? So people are looking for an outlet. So they go on to Facebook, and it's quite nice to look at somebody's nice photos. But being real on Facebook, I mean, it's harder for me. I do have to be real because I'm on it, for 4 hours a day. So that you can't hide who you are. But on a Facebook profile, of course you can. Of course you can. It's just
That's what I mean. I go on there to be real. I'm just me. I'm not a very good actress. So you know, for me, I would only find the right live for me or the right person to follow. If they weren't real, I'd soon find them out whether they were real or not.
yeah,
And
you
I
can
wouldn't
tell.
follow them. So that's what I mean by being real.
But do you ever experience that, Rachel? Have you ever experienced that where you want that picture perfect moment that actually, what I'm trying to say is that I do feel the best of our, I agree with you, Lucy. I do feel the best of our lives are planted on social media. And what Lucy has just said is we never plant an argument on social media. We never plant falling out with family members. We never plant falling out with friends or anything. We never share anything like that. But we always, and I think it can send you into a bit of an illusion, especially if you're not feeling great at the time. Is social media then a good platform to be looking at when you're feeling down and fed up and not very good? Is it a good app?
Facebook is different, I think, because you put on that you want people to see. You know, they want to see an ugly mug in the morning with me no makeup on, my hair stood on end like Bart Simpson, and you shush your face, you. But on TikTok, it's different because you actually see people. You see people the way they talk, the way they behave, the way they interact with people, and it's a little bit more real on TikTok, I think, than Facebook, because you only put pictures that you want people to see on Facebook.
Yeah, and I think that what you said, Nick, there. What did you say? You said something. People, like, if you're feeling down, is it a good thing? Well, for me, yes, it is. I'd rather go and look at somebody happy because I don't have a jealous streak. But I think if you are that sort of person who could be jealous or something, looking at somebody else's picture perfect world, people see all my faults on TikTok. I mean, there's not many, but people do see, liar. People do see my faults on TikTok. But on Facebook, do I put them out there? No, probably not. I would probably put a nice photo of me on. So Facebook is slightly different for me. But yes, it would cheer me up going on to watch either a funny reel or a happy family reel. But it's easy for me to say because I am in a happy family. So I wouldn't know. But, you know, yes, I would go to social media to cheer myself up.
And do you think...
Nick, I think it's different for Lucy than it is for the people viewing, because I've seen Lucy on a live behind the screen and there's nothing coming her way except text, and unless she reads the text, there's nothing coming. Now for us, we've got her chat all the time, or somebody in the box, or reading as well. We've got ourselves, but Lucy's just got herself in that room, quietness. There's nothing else, and it's hard to keep it going, I think.
Anyone who's come on and children and they're trying to talk, they're like, oh my good Lord, how do you do this? You read the comments, you answer, you're in the moment, you're trying to sort somebody else's problem out, and everyone who sees it are like, oh, how can you do that? I don't know. It's actually, Matt said to me, my husband, it's a talent. I couldn't talk to him.
It is a massive talent. Rachel, can I just be a little bit unprofessional? We seem to be looking down at you. Is there any way of like lifting your phone up so we're looking straight at you? It seems like you're looking very down to us today.
I was equipped in a good position before. My brother has cocked the scene up, so
it looks like we're looking very down at you. That's a bit better. Lucy, with you being on the panel right now, can you tell us a little bit of the dark side of social media as well?
Well, oh my gosh, there's a massive dark side. You can be befriended by people who you think could be friends, or but you don't know their history. You don't know. I don't know if my friend Sheila isn't Ronald from Dagenham. In his basement flat. I don't know that. You don't know that. Nobody knows that. So you do keep that in mind. But I literally do everything I taught my children not to do. Speak to strangers, accept gifts, talk to them, let people around your house. like you and Rachel. I mean, you know, but I do believe in the core of a lot of people, there are a lot of good people out there. And I do believe with my talent, I can, when I say talent, I mean my brain, I can usually like sniff out the good people, because we've got such a beautiful following. It's wonderful. And
But do you think
a long while.
Do you think it's scary for our children though? Because when I think about children nowadays, when I was at school, I'm now 26, but when I was at school, like a couple of shut your face, Rachel. Don't even know why you're laughing.
Older than that.
But, I am really Lucy, but we'll say 26
yeah.
on it. We'll say 26 on it. But when I was at school, bullying stopped at the school gate. It stopped at the school gate. Yes, it was horrendous at school. It was horrendous in the classroom. It was horrible. But actually, do you think the world of social media allows bullying to carry on, even as a child and as an adult?
Definitely. Definitely, because I think behind a keyboard, people are very brave, aren't they?
I think it's very sad because when we were young, let's face it, we were playing out all night, especially for the other three, Jason and Rachel and me. We were playing out all night. I didn't even hear of lunch. I mean, you just went in when it got dark for tea. You know, that was it. And so I feel that children have lost the ability to be themselves, because everything is captured, everything is photographed, everything is documented. So you just can't do anything wrong in the world now, and that is not allowing children to be themselves and find themselves and stuff like that. And yeah, there's nasty people out there. Hundreds.
They've lost the ability to be children. Children can no longer be children.
Exactly.
Right, definitely.
It's very
Do you
sad.
know that was you've led on to my next question, because my next question is sorry, I'm reading the wrong thing. It's because something's above it. Do you feel technology is stopping our children being children? Do you think now actually children are more coming home and being on a console or doing a dance to TikTok or being on Facebook, and actually our streets are empty, our social skills? Do you worry for generations to come that social skills of meeting and talking and chatting like we all are now will completely go out the window?
I'm not sure it's just technology though, is it? I think the last 3 years of the pandemic didn't help either, because people weren't able to be social with each other because we had to stay away from each other. And that pushed us onto social media 100%. To keep in touch with our families and friends and things like that. And that became then the norm to do that. And that's the way to do it. I mean, I only see my folks once a month when I come home to Newark, because I live in Norwich, and I go home once a month to see my folks. And it's nice to be able to talk to my mum and my dad, brother, nephews and nieces. And then obviously I go to church on a Sunday and I speak to everybody at church on a Sunday who I don't normally see. But that is the interaction that I love doing. I would rather do it that way than on social media. I mean, you've said I'm not a great social media person anyway, but I want that interaction. Humans are people that crave interaction. And I think our generation have no problem with that. We crave that interaction. I'm worried that our generation, 2 generations below me, because I'm older than you, Nick, 2 generations below me are not having that social interaction. And that's where the problem may lie in a couple of generations down the line, where they won't know the social skills to be able to interact on a level of talking to people that we do now.
You're saying, when you said, Jason, about the children the last few years of the pandemic, that has made such a difference. I've had 3 children, 2 children in 10 years ago, and then I had a later child who went through, he didn't have a leaving do at school, he didn't have a prom, he didn't do exams, he didn't have a shirt signing, he doesn't go out. Whereas my other son, he had all of that, mixing with his mates, and they always used to go down the pub and then all come back to mine. He doesn't do any of that. He's not on his phone all the time. He has got friends, but they do house parties, but there's none of this. It doesn't go to clubs and bars and stuff. There's nothing. He doesn't do any of that because he wasn't brought up in that sort of era. Like, so my 3 children are, my 2 older ones are like what we were like as we were growing up ish, but now Flynn is it's totally different.
Hmm.
But do you think we're stuck between a rock and a hard place? So what I mean by that is that actually technology is taking over. It's very much taking over. Like 10 years, well, maybe a bit longer than that. 10 years ago, you could only go around a supermarket and queue up at a checkout where a person scanned your shopping, bagged it up, and off you go. Where now we can go into a supermarket and we can do it ourselves, and a robot can do it for us. So when I think about the future and thinking about jobs and stuff like that, are young people, have they got it right actually? Are they turning to social media and wanting to become social media influencers and people on screen and stuff like that? Because what's there to say that robots completely take over everything in 10 years' time and all that we have got left is technology? Have they got it right and we've got it wrong?
Well, let's face it, you can sit on TikTok and do shopping and then flick over to another site and then do your supermarket shopping. You can get your clothes down on another site, and you get clothes and makeup and everything on TikTok as well, as Lucy knows. And but you know, it's all there on that little phone in your hand. So easy, so simple.
Massive.
I think it's sad that we are turning into, we have got a generation of kids that are turning into 5.5, 6-inch screens, and that's all they know.
It is sad. It is sad because they don't interact with the parents now either. A lot of them don't interact with the parents. It's only those that have grasped onto a bit of our generation and a bit of their generation, but the next generation that comes along, it's going to be totally technology, isn't it?
It's like when you ever go onto a website for like the doctors, if you try and get in touch with the doctors, go online. It's the quicker to do it online. Or if you go to somewhere else, it's quicker to do it online. Send us an email. Everybody wants you to do it technology. It's like when we asked, is cash going to disappear because everybody's doing everything by card online? That's one of those things, isn't it? I mean, I hate it personally. I don't like sending emails all the time. I would rather pick a phone up, ring somebody, talk to them. The doctors, I do all my prescription ordering online, but I would rather not. I would rather be able to go in and actually speak to somebody. I prefer that interaction rather than a phone.
Do we miss speaking to somebody? Do we miss that human interaction? Do you think people, especially for the older generation, thanks Rachel for being on, but especially for the older generation that just like that human connection, that human voice, do we miss it, do you think?
I don't think it's just the older generation.
It's not. I mean, take me for example. It's not the old. Well, obviously I'm old, but it's not just the older generation. I'm in a totally different world. A world where I cannot leave my front door without somebody. Where I cannot even go into my back garden. I know you're coming on to my story later, but just to say that social media has got me out of a massive problem in, with my life. I won't go on because you're going to ask me later, but social media for people who are less able, people who can't go out, people who can't go to the doctors, people who can't go to speak to the doctor, people who can't go to the supermarket. Of course, where would I be without it now?
Lifeline, isn't it?
It's a lifeline for me, which is sad, but I don't see people knocking on my door to come and say hi to me.
No, and I get that too. That's a completely different topic on its own. About
most of my friends are in the phone.
Exactly.
I actually call them in the phone friends. I say I'm friends. I've got in the phone friends.
Remember, you're the 5th panel member out there, though. Please join our debate and tell us if you think the world of technology is taking over. do you think it's good that a platform is finally deciding that under the age of 18 they are restricting, or do you think this is a load of rubbish and we should be allowed to choose ourselves? Remember, polls will be up this week. Your opinion is just as important to ours. We stick on the subject of TikTok only because we have a TikTok legendary tonight, so we are going to carry on with TikTok on another story, but I'm going to talk about the darker side to TikTok a little bit. So topic 2 is Katie Hopkins, who I'm not a massive fan of. Katie Hopkins and fat shaming. So, as we all know, Katie is one for sharing an opinion and does not hide from this. And seeing she's talking and fat shaming Sam Smith, and she's not being shy about this at all. So she's basically, I'm not prepared to show the video because I just think it's a sign of bullying, really. I'm not a fan of Katie Hopkins at all, but you might love her out there. But she's basically, Sam Smith decided to do this half-naked photo and put it all over his social media platform. I can't say I completely disagree with that. I can't say I completely disagree that he shouldn't have done it or he should have done it. I'm a bit on the fence about it. But she says in this video, it's like looking at a Greggs fat sausage roll.
Oh, no.
Rachel, that is not funny.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. It's the way you said it. It's not a case of that, but she was vile on there, because quite honestly, if people put in things on that they only like, I don't think that would have gone on Facebook, because it didn't put him in the best light. And she has vile words. There's quite a few things that she says a lot of people are too scared to say, a lot of people think about. Some various political views, but I think when you personally attack somebody, that is wrong. That is wrong.
Yes,
and I think it was a cruel thing to say when, you know, we've all got our foibles, we've all got our things that we're not particularly proud of, but we're human beings. We are who we are. So why?
Has he got an album coming out though?
Yes.
Done him good, a bit of publicity then. People feel
Yeah.
sorry for him and buy his album.
of course, no.
I mean, look at his outfit at the Brits.
Oh, good Lord. Rather don't look.
Oh no, it doesn't put him in a very good light though, did it? It wasn't very flattering.
No, but I just wonder if this publicity and keeping him towards the top of everybody's publicity list, I will actually help him with his album release.
That could be part of it. But going back to Katie Hopkins, and it's very controversial for me because I actually do like Katie Hopkins and I very much agree with a lot of what she says. However, would I say it about an individual? No. I wouldn't actually, because that's nasty. I'm not a nasty person, but some of her ideas, yes, I do. And sometimes I think, well, she's only saying what we're all bloody thinking. But I wouldn't actually say a name of somebody. I don't even think I'd say a group of people, like, you know, like she groups people together. I wouldn't say anything like that. I would just, yeah, she does say some things that I do agree with, but no, I wouldn't be nasty about someone like that.
But do you think when it comes to somebody that's quite public and somebody that's quite in the know, and there's we're built on sharing opinions. The whole point of Loose is sharing different opinions, but actually, should it be taken a bit more seriously when we dive for somebody on the way they look, their gender, their sexuality, their what they are, or what they perceive as being? Sam Smith might be happy at the way he looks. I'm not saying I would be, but do you think that could potentially fall out onto hate crime? And when a celebrity is like that and really, really like horrible to somebody personally, should there be a fine? Should there be something that actually you cannot say that?
Absolutely not.
Where would you stop?
Yeah, where do you stop? Absolutely not.
No, you can't. You couldn't do that. It's in everybody else. Everybody has an opinion, and if somebody's going to be nasty enough to actually voice their opinion, that's their personality. You're never going to stop that.
And
But
also
it's like you don't like a ginger hair. You don't like someone with freckles.
people's opinions, yeah.
Yeah, and people have got to not. It's bullying, yes, and
When
they're,
you in the social eye, like Sam Smith, why would you? You know, like I would not. I know what I look like naked or whatever. As I'd probably look like a sausage roll, so I wouldn't put a photo of me on TikTok like that. Now he's a very famous person, so he knows the backlash he would have got for that. So he's ready for it. He's totally ready for it. Don't think he's crying into his cornflakes because of Katie Hopkins. Not at all. He knows that people are going to come for him if he does things like that. Who is not going to come for him with those outfits lately?
But there's also an even darker side to it, though, Lucy, because again, I'm not prepared to show the video because I thought it was awful. But he was screamed at in the street, and I don't take this word lightly at all, accused of being a paedophile.
Oh gosh, no.
Because of the way he was dressing, because of the way he was acting, because of the way he wanted to present. And actually, when do we take a stop to that? When do we take a stance to that and go, whoa? Actually, it's like when I've watched you, Lucy. It's like when you watch a TikToker and they say a horrible word, and you see TikTokers go, just unfollow me. Don't watch me. If you don't like what you see, if you're not liking it, instead of putting nasty, horrible comments, why can't people just unfollow people? Why? But is it a massive thing to, I don't know how this leaderboard works or anything like that on TikTok, Lucy, but is it a massive thing that if you haven't got a lot of followers, you're not popular?
No, I don't think so. I think that the following that you get, like I had another account which had over 100,000 followers, but now my followers are what, 20,000 or something? No, less, but it's quality over quantity for me.
And what do you do to that? What happens if you have a person that is constantly, without naming anybody, obviously, but what happens with a person that is constantly horrible to you? How do you deal with that?
Okay, so on TikTok, it's slightly different because I don't have to listen to their comments. I have 10 moderators who would go in, and maybe even before I read the comment, it would be gone. Because in the beginning, the comments used to like fat, old, and you know, all the things that people say, really, really, really nasty things like get off mum, or, you know, just loads of different, it's the same as in the real world back in the day, people being nasty to people. So my moderators would just delete that straight away so I can't see it. Or if I do see it, I just say, can we deal with that, please? And I try my hardest when I'm on live not to read them, because some of them do hit hard. But the worst bit is when they befriend you, and maybe I've been speaking to them, been in my life for 3 months, and then you find out it's one of your trolls, you know, that's horrible. I really can't deal with that very well at all. But yeah.
Do you think TikTok needs to be taking more responsibility for that, though?
Oh, 100%. Some people shouldn't even be on TikTok that are on there now. They're really big creators as well. So yeah, there is some people on TikTok who should not be on there. Oh, you're right, Rach.
That's all right. I was about to give way. It was propped up before.
You comfortable there?
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
But do you think when it comes to, so I want to talk a little bit about weight. So when it comes to weight, when it comes to our size and weight and stuff like that, do you think we get our own insecurities about our weight? And do you think our environment plays a big part in this when we were children?
I think we were tougher when we were children, in you know, in the 60s, 70s, 80s. I think we were brought up a little bit tougher than we are now. I think the environment we've got, because everyone's looking into a screen, or as you say, technology's taken over, life skills have dropped, and we haven't got the children of today haven't got the life skills to defend themselves and to fight their own corner with words and eloquence. Now it's just coming out fighting with toxic words that you can just get over, get a hit with a couple of words rather than have a conversation. You know, it's I think the snowflakes now of today's society is a lot different to how we were brought up. We're brought with more respect for each other before, I think, anyway.
100%, yeah, of course. We did have
But Rachel, I'm going to question you a little bit. Was you in an environment as a child where weight was never discussed? So you never heard your mum talking about being on a diet. You never heard your dad about dieting. You never heard anybody that was around you that was constantly saying, "Oh, I need to be on a diet," or "I need to lose a bit of weight." Was it never really discussed weight in the house?
No, because you didn't have the social media, I suppose, to compare all the time.
Or
When in our days, we had 3 flipping channels, and when Channel 4 came in, that was rather risque. But you
yeah,
don't have anyone to compare yourself with except your family, and hopefully you were within a loving environment where nobody would say things like that to you.
also
So
we
you
didn't
didn't
have so
feel
much
conscious.
fast food then, did we? We didn't have
No.
takeaways and people and things to hand, and you know, just Uber Eats, I just get that. We didn't have any of that.
True.
And also,
Oh,
and
go on,
also,
Dan.
when you go back to childhood, you could buy fresh fruit, fresh veg. You could buy all the things you wanted, vegetables and things like that, and it was cheap. And it was cheaper to eat healthy. Now it's cheaper to eat fast food, salty food, all the fast food and all the kind of stuff in the supermarkets that's not good for you is as cheap as chips. But all the stuff that you really could eat and really good for you is much more expensive. And obviously, this cost of living crisis is making things worse than ever because people just can't afford to eat healthily because you can't get any tomatoes, can't get cucumbers, can't get lettuce, can't get leeks.
And Rachel, I sort of want to come back at you a little bit. I know I always seem to come back at you a little bit, but I'm not talking about. I'm not saying that a child. To me, it's not about a loving environment. I'm not talking about that. But I can only go based on my experience. So when I was a kid, my mum would always talk about losing weight. Would always talk about needing to be on a diet. My dad would, my mum would. It was a big topic in our house. Now, I'm not saying at all that I had a beautiful childhood. There's been ups and downs, but I had a beautiful childhood. But I think that's molded me into the adult that I am. Like, I am obsessed by my weight. I think about it all the time. I think about, I've put on a pound, I've lost a pound. I can't do scales in the house at all. I can only, I do it by the waist of my jeans. So if my waist of my jeans is getting too tight, I think, right, I need to do something about it. But I think that's because when I talked, I'm not even going to say which friend it is, but when I talked to my friend about this, he says to me, well, actually, I don't think I ever talk about my weight or worry about my weight or worry about putting on 5 stone or losing 4 stone, because actually, when I was a child, it was never discussed. It was never talked about. It was never this, that, and the other. And I really do think it comes from the environment. So if you are around people that talk a lot of the time about being on a diet and needing to lose weight and stuff like that, that can be quite toxic for a child growing up.
Yeah, I can understand that. But when I say a loving environment, it would be that no, I didn't have the problems that about weight and visual, what people actually look like and people perceived each other. But I also wouldn't ever ridicule anybody who was big or fat or skinny or ginger or freckly or anything like that. And that was being brought up right and proper. You know, it's not something I've ever been around. So yes, I can understand it if you've been surrounded by people who've had a weight problem in the past and previously, and like mother and father, but I've never experienced that anyway.
Nick,
I wouldn't ridicule anybody.
sorry, do you think that's your body image because you're not even big?
Yeah, I think there's a slight body dysmorphia in me.
I was going to say, I can't even imagine why you'd even think about diet.
And
I had a bit of an issue with the doctor. I went to see a doctor about 2 years ago, and she went, "Oh, you've put on some weight." I said, "Oh, so have you."
Oh,
Because I said, she said, you've put on some weight. I said, yeah, so have you. I said, but we haven't seen each other for 2 years, have you? Because you're not seeing people. She said, yes, I'm getting back on my bike. She said, when the weather gets better. I said, and I will be doing more walking. I
Get
said,
on
but
your
I said,
bike.
don't tell me I'm putting on weight when you've put on quite a bit as well.
oh,
Well, the
my
thing is,
goodness.
as well, I think a couple of years ago, I've had treatment for it, but I was borderline anorexic at one point. I didn't hit complete anorexia. I know there's a lot more people out there with a lot worse anorexia than I had. I was never hospitalised over it and stuff like that, but I did stop eating, and I think I don't know. The thing that's got me asking this question is, where does it come from? Where does that insecurity come from? Where does it all start? You're not born thinking about your weight. And I think it's a taught thing. I think it's very, very taught. And I'm not blaming my mum. If you're watching out there, hi mum. I'm not blaming my mum at all. But I was surrounded all the time by, and I've never wanted to be like, you've got a relative, haven't you, Rachel, who I'm not going to name on screen, obviously, but you've got a relative that was world's strongest man at one point, Lincoln's strongest man, and is well built and well. None of that advertises me. None of that bodybuilding sort of look, but I just want to stay skinny. I am so obsessed by staying skinny, and if I feel like I've put on a bit of weight, I'm obsessing by it. I've covered mirrors. I've like to the point where now I can't look at myself at the moment, but I know that's my insecurity, and I know I have to deal with it. So there's the
I'm not sure whether it's taught or whether we have become more aware of the way we know our weight affects our health. I think because we now know more about the way that our weight affects our health, I think that's what causes a problem. I've put quite a lot of weight on, and I am trying desperately to lose it because I've got a heart condition, and I know it causes my heart to work harder when I've got more weight that I'm carrying. So I know that I need to lose weight, but it's not something that I was taught. It's the fact that I now know it will affect my health unless I do something about it.
Yeah,
We've got to be sensible, haven't we? You know, you being bigger is not going to be the healthier option, is it? So it's just a case of if you want to be big, you have to. If you want to be big, you have to accept the consequences. If you can't help being big, then this is when it's a problem. But you know, you have to seek advice and seek some help. But there's it's a big industry as well, losing weight, and for a woman, it can get pretty boring because you're up and down like flipping yo-yos if you put on weight fast, and especially when menopausal,
Yeah.
it gets even worse. So shall we change the topic?
Just quickly about weight. So I'm on such a journey. I've lost 4.5 stone. So, you know, for me, I grew up as a sports person. So I was constantly at sports with mum and dad. Weight was never discussed. I'd never been big. Even after 3 children, I wasn't big. However, when I became sick, it was a mental thing. I just ate, I didn't care. And that's how it is. And I do think it is a mental thing, Nick.
Well, let's just go around the panel quickly. So we're always taught as children to love ourselves, and we hear that a lot in our lives, don't we? You've got to love yourself before you can love anybody else. You've got to love and don't. I've actually, if I'm honest, I've really struggled with that saying all my life. And as Jason's just said about church earlier, I go to church, and it's very much preached to ourselves that you need to love yourself as much as you love your neighbour and all of that. And I've really struggled with that. And if I'm honest, I've got to a place now where I'm 28. Well, I've got to a place now where I can look in the mirror. I can look in the mirror and go, I like what I see. I like the person that I'm becoming. But I still don't think I'm at that point where I go, oh, I love myself. Let's just go around the panel. Rachel, can you honestly look at yourself in the mirror?
What are you laughing at?
I was trying so hard not to laugh. Basil Brush, can you actually look at yourself in the mirror?
You know, Nick, I can look at you and I know what I'm feeling and I know what I'm thinking. But would it be a hate crime? Probably in your world, it would be.
Probably.
I'd be hung, drawn, and quartered or shot. But I'm not even answering that. I
Right.
sometimes think I look better than I do look. Sometimes I think, oh, you look gorgeous, and then I see a photo, say, bloody hell, I look like the front runner in the Grand National. But no, I don't say I love myself. No, not at all.
But do you like yourself? Can you say to yourself, I like who you are?
I'm a decent human being.
Okay. No comment.
Most of the time.
Jason, can you look in the mirror and say, I love myself?
No, I can look in the mirror and say I like who I am, but I dislike the amount of weight I've got.
There's a difference in that. What about you, Lucy? I'm really intrigued to hear you. Can you look at yourself in the mirror and go, I love who I am?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. But here is where social media has played such a big part. They have given me the confidence to carry on with my diet and the uplifting spirit of what we do every single day. They literally are my heroes, my girls. They are wonderful.
Tell us what you guys think. Do you think? I don't even know why we all started on that. Do you think? What was her name? Do you think the celebrity that called Sam
Katie Hopkins.
Katie Hopkins, do you think Katie Hopkins calling Sam Smith a sausage roll, stop it, Rachel, stop it right now, was right? Do you agree or not? Do you think it's harder and the environment that we are around to how we see ourselves now, really? Do you think it affects us as children? And do you think
If it was a vegan sausage roll, it'd be ever so thin.
do you agree? I'm trying to be serious here. I'm trying to be serious. Do you agree with Lucy that social media does really help? So we go on.
For me, it won't for some people. It won't. Social media will be absolutely crappy for some people.
Yeah.
Journey with being fat shamed and stuff like that. And I have had it. But on a whole, yeah, it's helped me.
So moving on, Basil Brush. So we're now going to talk about a quite serious topic now, ladies and gents. A man who dragged a lone woman off a Spalding Street with the intention of carrying out a serious sexual assault on her today, which was last Friday, was jailed for 4 years and 1 month. Obviously not going to name this man. Also sentenced 3 years extended license period following his release from custody after a judge at Lincoln Crown Court conclusion he was dangerous. Ladies and gents, do you think the system needs changing before releasing anybody from prison? Do you still feel like we haven't got it right yet?
Oh my goodness, there is no justice in this world. There is no justice. You look at other countries. I mean, if you steal in some other Far East countries, they'll cut your right hand off. There's not many people stealing in that country. You know, we do not have any justice for, and especially the crime that you're talking about. It's hideous.
It could have been a murder.
You get more for robbing a bank than you would for raping 2 7-year-olds. You'd get longer for robbing a bank. That is disgusting. Sorry, I've got really strong views on that.
Yeah, no, it's quite right. I feel the same.
Oh, and that's the end of that, Rach. Thanks for dipping in there.
I thought I could see Jason's lips pursed. Then I thought it was just about to come out with something, so I'd stop talking.
Go on, Jason.
No, I just think that we as a country need to look at our justice laws, and alongside that, I think we need to look at our judges as well. Because I think most of them in their 60s and 70s have lost control with what actually is going on in the world that we now live in. I think people need to actually start looking. I think the government should try and do something. I mean, not that we've got a government that's got any kind of leadership, but with the government we've got at the moment, somebody should grab hold of the Justice Secretary, give him or her a shake, especially the Home Secretary. Somebody could actually do something that put a rod up her and actually give her a wake-up call and get them to actually deal with it. I said it would be a step in the right direction, but maybe it's a change of government we need and not a change of Home Secretary, like the revolving door of number 10.
Right.
But it's difficult because I am a fan of My Big Fat Gypsy Wedding. I am a fan that watches those programs. And some cultures allow men, and it's been publicised on television as well. So anybody that's a gypsy out there, come at me. Honestly, fight against me if I'm saying this out of turn. But I've watched programs where men are talking about what we do is pull women down the side of an aisle and we have a bit of fun with her. And that's okay in that culture. That's not against the law. So how can we find this balance? How can we be saying to some people, no, this is completely wrong and this is absolutely wrong and you will go to jail for it, but some cultures encourage that?
Well,
Whatever community you are in, whether you're in the gypsy community, in our community, in any other community, you are who you are. If I was a gypsy and I could do that to girls, I wouldn't do it because that's not the person I am. It doesn't matter if I was brought up like it or whatever. Some people can't hurt others, but there are some people out there who can hurt others. And I think that is the answer. I do. I think you're either like it or you're not.
I think that's a bit of a cop out, though, saying if you're in a different culture you can do it. I think that's a cop out. If you're in this country and we have laws in this country, if you are settling in this country and part of this country, then you follow those laws, whether you like them or not.
That should happen, Jason, but we've got lots of cultures in this country that don't adhere to our laws. Lots of cultures. And so that,
I mean, there's one place in Birmingham that wants Sharia law actually imposed because that is their culture and they want their own Sharia law to be that part of their culture. But I just think we can't go where we split the country into sections where some of it's Sharia law, some of it's Gypsy law, some of it's English law. I don't think you can split a country like that. I think if you come to this country, you know what our laws are, and I think you have to abide by them.
Well, it should be, but it doesn't, does it? We're too flimsy in this country. We let everybody do what they want. You go to another country and you have to be clothed, you have to be covered up, you have to adhere to the laws, otherwise you're banged up, no rights at all.
Hardly any crime in those countries.
No, there aren't. There you go.
I mean, look what happened. If you go to the World Cup, look what happened in Qatar and the World Cup. The laws that were told, people were told, you will not drink in the stadiums. You will only drink alcohol in the area where it is permitted. You will wear a shirt. You will not be allowed to be gay. You cannot have this. You cannot do that. And that was it. And if that was broken, people would be arrested and thrown into jail.
Yeah.
Dubai, if you're not married, you can't go to the desk, like the reception desk at a hotel, and book the room. Obviously, everyone says they are, but that is a law. You need to be married to have to share a room in Dubai.
Yeah.
Massively. We will move on from that. There was another question, but I'm sure punishment will always come up on the show. But I've got a bit of a scenario for you, ladies and gents. So let's see what your scenario is. This: I refuse to cancel my holiday for my sister's surprise wedding. She's being selfish. One sister is standing her ground by refusing to cancel her holiday plans for her sister's last-minute wedding, as she's only arranged it a month prior to the big day. Others agreed with her. When it comes to planning the perfect wedding, each couple will have their own vision for the big day that celebrates their love and their personalities. Whenever you decide to throw a luscious do, that takes months or even years to plan, or opt for a low-key occasion with just a handful of important guests. The dream scenario is for your friends and family to support you in whichever wedding style you choose. Ladies and gents, let's go around the panel. Rachel, would you cancel a holiday for one of your family or friends' surprise wedding?
If they meant a lot to me, yes. But the thing is, if I had a very good friend or a close relative they wouldn't do that to me. They'd know I'd be going on holiday, and they wouldn't do that to me. So I'd have to think twice about it, I think, because although if I loved somebody, they wouldn't do that to me. They wouldn't put me in that position.
Variance, isn't there? Whether you've paid for holiday, whether you're going to get a rebate if you do cancel it. There's lots of variants. And who's surprised who? I don't understand the concept.
So a sister has basically surprised a sister and basically said, I'm inviting you to my wedding as a sister. It's last minute plan. We booked the date. This is the date. But so let me give you a scenario. Rachel is getting married. She comes to you next week and says, right, Lucy, I've got a wedding day. It's next week, next Friday, 12 o'clock. I want you there, bridesmaid, all of that. And then you go, but on Friday, I'm going to Dubai.
Right.
What would you do? Would you cancel the holiday or would you go to Rachel's wedding?
I'd probably go to the wedding.
Would you?
I wouldn't like, I would if it was you, Rach, of course, but I wouldn't like the pushiness of someone saying you must cancel your wedding. I think it should be left to the person to decide.
What about you, Jason? Would you cancel a holiday?
No. If they have decided to throw a surprise wedding for their guests when it's meant to be their day, then that's up to them. If they decide to do it and I'm already got something on, I'm afraid that will take precedence. Especially if I was doing a concert or something like that, where I couldn't then back out because I'd been booked for it. Because if you then back out that late on, either you've got to find somebody to cover your spot of what you're doing, or you get blacklisted because you've left them in the lurch. So no, if I book something, it's booked, and anything else comes along, well, out the window it goes, I'm afraid. And because of whatever I've taken on first, that will take precedence. If they've decided to book it a week in advance, well, they'll probably be without an organist because they'll probably say to me, could you please play at our wedding? And I'd say no. Church organist. As a church organist, they'd probably say to me, could you play? And I'd say no. I wouldn't cancel my holiday.
No, I'm in Dubai.
Says no.
No, I'm in Dubai, but Jesus loves you.
Yeah.
Say again.
I said, no, I'm in Dubai, but Jesus loves you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't cancel my holiday. It's their fault for booking it so
ladies
quick.
and gents, when we get that invitation through the door, do you dread a wedding day? So do you dread like seeing family and friends and having to put on an effort and seeing a long lost cousin that you haven't seen for 3 years and you have to sit and talk to them? Or do you really embrace a wedding? Do you really enjoy it? Do you dread
I
it
love
or
a wedding.
embrace it?
I love a wedding. I like to get my hat out and a tissue for a cry. I love a wedding.
What about you, Rach, with your resting?
I did.
face?
I liked a wedding, but been there, done that. I can't bother to dress up now. I can't stand up. I don't look nice in anything. They're nothing banana shaped now.
Oh,
No
get
clothes
out.
banana shaped.
I've seen Rachel naked. She looks beautiful.
Oh, behave yourself. No, oh, that's a revolting sight. Greg's sausage roll comes up to mind, doesn't it? A cooked one.
Do you know, we was talking about this in church last week because he did a sermon on marriage, and he was saying, do you know what the annual spend on a wedding was in 22, 23? No, 21, 22. Do you know what the average spend was? Nobody could work it out. He said the average spend on a wedding now in 21, 22 was £17,000. Some people paid more, some people paid less, but the average cost of a wedding actually in the last year was £17,000.
Well, 21, 22, that was still semi-lockdown, wasn't it? 21.
Yeah.
So they did well to get that many bloody guests. So what was
Well,
it?
Well, that's because everywhere put it up, didn't they? Everywhere put the prices up because everybody was rebooking from the year before. So everything went up.
Yeah.
So just get prepared, Lucy, because mine and Rachel's surprise wedding is next week. So make sure you've got a hat ready and everything.
Oh, I'm busy. I've got rehearsals, I'm afraid.
I really
I've
busy.
got-
I have
I've got-
surgery on Saturday. So, yes, I will be busy. I won't be cancelling surgery.
And I'll be going supermarket shopping, so you're on your own there. Marry
Friends have
yourself.
been watching her hair. Friends have been watching her hair. We come to the final topic. We've still got a bit of time to go, but ladies and gentlemen, we have a guest panel with us this evening on, and we interview her as she is a major big TikTok star, and she is really much one of a kind. She's very, very inspirational, and we have a massive pleasure by having her on the show, and that's Lucy Chester. She joins us this evening to talk about her life and TikTok. So the panelists were supposed to prepare questions and stuff like that, and they haven't. So it's the anchor again. So I'll interview if you want to.
In all fairness, Nick said he would send questions and never did.
And if you guys want to join in or any point, and we'll just ask you these few questions. So Lucy, can you explain what FND is to those who don't know?
Well, one way of thinking about it is thinking about, like, it's a problem being able to access or control your own body normally in a certain sense. The person who's trying hard, all the basic wiring is okay. It's like a computer, all this hard work is fine, but the inside, the software doesn't completely connect and it doesn't work properly. But because it's because the way the condition presents, it's very, very difficult to get a diagnosis. I mean, gosh, it takes a long time. FND is functional neurological disorder.
I was just about to ask that question, just about.
What actually happens then, Lucy, when you have an episode? How do you experience it?
Okay, so FND, your body can go into spasms really badly and you can't come out of them. The way it presents in me, I have seizures. So, yeah, I have seizures and I can't remember things. My seizures are usually pretty dramatic because I don't get any warning. So hence I can't go outside the front door or the back door because I've had so many. Like, I'm literally terrified of concrete now because I've seen it coming to my face so often, and so many, different damages that, yeah, it presents in the way of seizures, forgetfulness, tired. So much runs alongside FND, which is why it's so difficult to diagnose.
So how long did it take you to be diagnosed with this, Lucy?
7 years.
7 years. And then what did you have to go through in those 7 years?
So you're sent to different scans, different people, different specialists, pushed from here, pushed to there, having those pills. But even now, they don't know enough about it. They don't know enough about the brain. Doctors, specialists, they don't know enough. I mean, my neurological specialist asked me the other day why I was on phenytoin, which is an anti-seizure drug. And I said, well, what do you mean, why am I on it? He said, who prescribed it? And I said, the doctor. I can't prescribe my own medication. And he said, well, I'm sorry, it was almost annoyed me. He said, I'm sorry, that is a generic epilepsy drug. You don't have epilepsy. I said, well, I know. So he unprescribed me straight away. So I just think they do not connect the dots between doctor to doctor, specialist to specialist. And it took 7 years of hell and a mortgage and a whole mortgage.
So
You're right. She's right there. They don't connect the dots. They don't, because I've got a heart condition. I'm with respiratory clinic and I'm with neurology at the hospital here. And I see those, and I actually have to describe my condition to the doctors and the neurologists because they don't know enough about my condition because they're not taught about it. And they don't connect the dots. Whenever somebody prescribes a medication, I always say, is that okay to have with what else I'm having? And they go, oh, I'm not sure. And then they decide to look at it, but not unless I tell them.
Exactly, because I have lupus, which is it's a chronic autoimmune disease, which is when your body's immune system attacks its own tissues and organs, and inflammation caused by this hurts different parts of the body. Comes along with fibromyalgia, it comes along with chronic fatigue. So once I was diagnosed with lupus, they think that was it. But then, of course, all these seizures and these complete blackouts and the not remembering anything, the stuttering. I've got tics now that I never used to have, non-verbal tics. You know, it can infect your joints, skin, kidneys, blood cells, heart, anything. My cousin has lupus and it is affecting her lungs and her hair loss. Now, I have lupus and we don't know, and they don't know, is that why I have the seizures along with the FND? Because some people with FND don't have seizures. So we just don't know. And it's cost us a lot of money, time, love, and energy to find out. It is not something that just comes easy to doctors. I mean, I have been everywhere. I went to Slovenia to try leech therapy. I was left in a basement for 6 weeks, literally to beg for treatment and to find a cause, literally me and Matt and the kids, we would have done anything. And so I did that, you know. Matt left me there and I had Japanese splicing. I had leeches all over my body. And no, it didn't help if you're going to ask that next. But the thing
but the question that fires in my mind is, so when you finally got the diagnosis, was it bittersweet? So was it almost like, fantastic, I finally know what's wrong with me, but in the same respect, was it isolating as well?
No, because I'm already isolated. My life, I had a full-time job, and at 45, when I was struck down with a seizure, and I had about 15 on the day, which I couldn't come out of, that was the day I was isolated. I wasn't isolated when I got my diagnosis. I'd already been through 7 years of it. My mum cried, I cried, Matt cried, you know, we was all like, oh gosh, that is why, you know, because they couldn't really find out before. But to not know why you stop breathing, drop to the floor, crash into a massive seizure, sometimes stop breathing for a very long time, and to be hospitalized, to not know why, it's a very long journey.
So what were you like before, Lucy, before FND? What was your life like before?
Before FND, I worked as a behaviour specialist in a senior school. And before that, I worked as child protection in social services, which I loved. I love working, I don't know, like, because of the thing I do on TikTok, inspirational. Now, most of my jobs have been about helping people. So I don't know if that sort of like is a pattern. I don't know, but I knew that I never wanted, and there's no shame in working at Tesco's, but you know, I didn't want a job just for money. I wanted a job to do some good. And when I was in the social service, I felt that I wasn't doing good because the judges don't listen to a word you're saying. So then I went on to behaviour management in a senior school, which had its own challenges, as you can imagine, in a unit of teenagers.
Do you feel at one stage you mourned your old life? Did you mourn it?
Not at one stage, Nick, daily.
Right, okay. So it's an ongoing thing that that's still
daily.
Difficult.
Daily.
Right, okay. That's good to hear. What is the most difficult aspect of FND you have had to deal with and accept?
My independence has completely gone. I can't drive my car. I've got a nice car sitting on the drive. I can't drive it. I can't go to the supermarket. I can't. I mean, I just cannot. I can't even go outside my front door without someone being with me, because if I drop seizure, then we're all completely in a mess. I have to be in a wheelchair. Now, I was really sporty, skiing every year. I played squash for England. You know, there was loads of stuff. And yeah, I mourn that. But the biggest problem, I would say, I mean, I've been through a lot. So treatments, weight, all of that, paling into insignificance against my independence. It's gone.
It's still inspirational though, because we're coming on to the inspirational bit in a minute. So we're talking about the dark side at the moment, aren't we? We're talking about the illness and stuff like that, but we will move on to TikTok and where you are on TikTok nowadays. This is why we got you on. But has the physical ill health damaged the effect on your mental health?
Oh gosh, massively. But I am at the other side now. I was in a very bad place mentally, very, very bad. You know, so much so that I wasn't at home. So you can gather from that what you need to. But yeah, extremely difficult mentally, terrible, really bad. Like, yeah, again, like, and not remembering. Like even now when I'm live, the girls say, "Go put your helmet on," and I forget. I go back into my old life. And I think, oh gosh, you can't. I never go outside, obviously, because I know that I can't do that. But even going into my own kitchen, I can't even go and make a coffee. I can't, you know, yeah, I can't cook. So my husband works full time, and I've always worked full time, and I've got 3 children. So my husband works, comes home, cooks the dinner, you sort out the kids. They're older now, but sort the kids out. And he doesn't really sit down till 9 o'clock. Then he does all the washing up. Then he comes and sits down. Then he cares for me because I can't have a shower when he's gone out. I can't have baths anymore unless he's sitting with me or my daughter or my son. So yeah, you lose a lot of dignity and a lot of, well, your whole independence, but your dignity really takes a knock. Like for my son to find me when I've had a seizure doing a wee or something on the floor, you know, it's horrific.
So we're talking a little bit tonight, and I'm going to throw it off the cuff here because I usually throw it to a panelist, but I'm actually going to throw it to you tonight.
Oh,
so we're talking tonight about you being a massive inspiration, and you are, and we are coming on to that. But Lucy, if I put you on the spot now, who is your massive inspiration?
Oh gosh, my husband.
I was hoping you were going to say that.
So was I.
Tell me why Matt is amazing, because I've met Matt. So tell me why he is amazing.
You know what? There's not a day that goes by where he moans about any of it, ever, where he doesn't tell me I'm beautiful. When I was in the hospital for my mental health, I would say to him, please don't come, honestly, because I can't even remember you've been. And most of the time I couldn't. And he said, he would always say, baby, I would not go a day without seeing that beautiful face.
Oh, you nearly got me in tears.
And oh, to be that marvelous of a person, because I'm not sure I could put up with me on a daily. So yes, he's my inspiration. My husband is, which is why as well I do a little bit of TikTok, because you do get a little bit of pocket money. You know, anything that I can do to take pressure off of him, I like doing. It's like when someone comes to stay, I would like to sort of, I'd go out in the kitchen and we try and do a dinner before he comes home, you know, anything like that. But yes, Matt is my inspiration.
Matt, if you're listening, we're giving you a big shout out right now.
Hear that, Matt?
Tell us
what inspiration was, and I said you.
Tell us in the last year how you've discovered TikTok, and what do you do on TikTok?
Okay, so when I was depressed, and my Matt and Phoebe, they loved TikTok, and I was a bit like Jason. Oh my goodness, it's awful. Get off your bloody phone. Keep watching that. It's rubbish. And then I started, they said, just download it, Mum. Just honestly, Mum, you'll love it. And I love being with people. So I really struggled with losing everything I've lost. And I actually couldn't wait, because you have to get to 1,000 followers before you can go live. So I literally would go on, do dances, little things that I could manage, and watch other stuff, which I found so much inspiration on there. I swear, I found inspiration. I found laughter. I found comedy again. I found fashion again. Yeah, and that's how I started. Once I saw other people doing it, I was like, I want to do that dance. Phoebe, teach me that dance. Can we do that? Oh, can we do that? And the ball got rolling. And then I decided in April 2022, so I'm 52 now, and I was 51 then, obviously, and I never wore makeup ever. And I decided that I'd like to learn it. So that's what I did. I went to stay with my cousin in Lancashire, and I learned makeup. And I thought, do you know what? On social media, when you go to look for somebody who does makeup, 4 hooded eyes, 4 bags, for the older generation. We don't go out 40. We still want to look nice. And there was such a gap in the market for that. And it's been wonderful. There was such a gap in the market. And, you know, there's so many women who do need help out there. And people like me, Jason, I know that you said, well, I've got a life. My life now is that, because I can't do there is no other life. I mean, there is life with my family and stuff like that, but I can't live my life outside in the real world. So my life is on with the people that I love, and I basically know them now, like FaceTime, like me and Rachel are friends, me and Nick are friends. You know, it saved me. It literally saved me, Nick.
And Lucy, you do so well, because obviously me and Rachel decided to do a TikTok at Christmas, and honestly, you think your organisational skills with video is absolute. It took us 4 hours, and I'm not even lying. I'm not even lying. No, you're not putting that up, Nick. Not right position. 4 hours. 4 hours.
Nick,
so many drafts.
You can't have been doing it right, because me and Rachel went to a hotel and we done 3 dances off the cuff like that. I think it's obviously my energy giving it.
Yeah, it's your energy. It's your energy. But how has TikTok changed your life?
I wake up wanting to live.
Oh,
I didn't before.
that's amazing. And do you feel like, because it's such a universal world, do you feel like you have gained real friends from that platform?
Well, not Rachel, but yes, other people.
What is it about this program that brings out the worst in people?
Yes, I do, Nick. Which so I can't even believe that I say that, but I do. Yeah, 100%. It's really difficult. As I said in the beginning, I do everything I taught my children not to do.
Yeah.
And I love it. And yes, I have, because I FaceTime them, and I wouldn't let anyone now get too close without FaceTiming, knowing what their home situation is. You can get a vibe. When you FaceTime someone, you can get a little bit of a vibe.
Yeah.
So I don't want to be talking from Darren to Darren from Dagenham. You know, it could be Sharon or whatever. So it's nice I will interact once I've known them for probably 3 to 4 months online, and maybe I'd give a WhatsApp, you know, but if anyone wanted to get any closer, it would have to be through video and stuff, so that you know, you do have to be careful. I'm not silly.
And me and Rachel had the pleasure of meeting Lucy, and Rachel went round for a makeup tutorial all on her face. Rachel sat in the chair for about 2 minutes, and then I took the rest of the time.
Yeah,
so I looked
landing,
absolutely amazing, and Rachel looked pissed with the makeup, not without.
Poor Rachel.
I did, yeah.
But I did look nice at the spa, didn't I?
Yeah, you warmed up on me and then gave Nick the good old going over, yes, but yes.
But unfortunately, ladies and gents, that brings us to the end of this week's show. Can you thank my panel this evening, joining me, Nicholas James, was Rachel Penny, Jason Lambert, and the wonderful and gorgeous Lucy Chester. Lucy, we will share your TikTok page on our social media page this week. So if people do want to get involved and start following you, please have a look on her page, because it's absolutely amazing. Join us next week, as we've got another inspirational person on the panel, but find out who that person will be. Join us next week, 9 o'clock, same place, same time. Thanks for joining us.
What do you say, Lucy?
Thank you very much, Nick.
Take care, and we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.